What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, I saw a very interesting news clip, and it was about an auction that was going on for Madonna's property. And, I guess she was just auctioning some stuff off to, sell off and get some money. But one of the things that she's auctioning was this letter that she wrote in the 90s. And in the letter, it says that Madonna said that Whitney Houston was horribly mediocre. Yeah, so that's what she said in her letter about Whitney Houston, that Whitney Houston, one of the greatest singers of all time, was horribly mediocre. So I saw this and I posted it on my Facebook. And rightfully so, a lot of people were upset by it. Okay. And because, Whitney Houston, for all of her flaws, she still had a large fan base, especially within the black community. Black people love Whitney Houston, and I can understand why. Okay. And it was her talent and her personality made her very popular amongst black people. In fact, a lot of the stories that I've heard of Whitney Houston behind the scenes, there's some sad stuff in there, but there's also some really good things. Like a lot of the stories that I hear about Whitney Houston, either from other artists or people that worked with her, was just how humble she was and how she was always extremely friendly with just regular people or people that weren't celebrities. Like there's stories of her like going to church with people and stuff like that, because no matter how old she got, she still enjoyed going to church and hearing gospel music. So Whitney Houston is very much loved by the black community, and she never turned her back on the black community. As famous as she got, as big as she got, she was always just a girl from Newark, New Jersey. And, especially where, when me being a New Jersey native, we love Whitney Houston, right? So, when Madonna would, say something like that in a letter in the 90s, I guess this was like the height, of Madonna's popularity. So she was probably feeling herself. She's always been known to be a very arrogant and just being an asshole, basically. And she probably was saying that probably to either get attention or, just once again, just being an asshole, right? And when I saw this quote, it just made me think that it's interesting when you have these so-called artists out there or people who are famous who have absolutely no talent, when they want to talk down on people who have talent in abundance. Like I said at the beginning of this video, Whitney Houston is considered to be one of the greatest singers of all time. Okay? Whitney Houston could stand in front of a crowd and just sing and bring that emotion to everybody listening to her. Madonna, on the other hand, can't sing at all, can't compose a song at all, can't play musical instruments at all. The only thing Madonna was ever able to do was get attention from basically being a whore, right? And really, if you want to think about it, that all those little hoe antics that Madonna did, that saved her career. Because had she not have done that, Madonna would have just been an 80s act. She'd have faded out in the early 80s. Because think about some of her earlier hits in the 80s. Like she has some very early songs in the early 80s, which was ironically I like more than the stuff that she did later on. I like those songs that were in like those old 80s movies like Vision Quest, like Gambler and Crazy. Was it Crazy for You? I like stuff like that because I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s. I watched all those movies back then. I like stuff like that. And I still listen to that type of music today. But what Madonna did later on, it was just like, okay, I can see that you're just trying to get attention to be popular, right? Wearing ice cream cones on your titties and everything else like that, pulling your face back and doing sex books and sexy movies and always exposing yourself. I get it. I get that's why she did what she did. Because, like I said, Madonna has no discernible talent. She can't write. She's been known to steal music from other people. Okay, she's been sued several times over. That's the thing that they've tried to keep out of public eye. Like, I knew this one guy. He was like a pop artist, like an actual painter, pop artist. And I remember, like, when I was working with him and I met him, he was telling me about like a list of songs that Madonna stole from other people. And like I said, I didn't even know about this. He said, yeah, they keep that stuff on the hush, right? But he knew all about it, being like when I say a pop artist, I don't mean like a singer. I mean like a person who actually did painting and stuff like that. But he was well known in South America and the Miami area. But he was telling me all about it because he hung out with a bunch of celebrities and producers and whatnot. He told me all about it, all the stuff that she had stolen that, I thought was her music, but I guess it wasn't, right? So she's known for that. She's known for taking songs. She always has people who are more talented than she is write her music. So people that helped out her early career, like the brothers from Chic, Bernard Edwards, the bass player, and who's the other one? Niles Roger. If you listen to that Like a Virgin album, that was basically supposed to be a Chic album. But, these record producers, they canceled Chic and got them out of there and got these two black guys to write for Madonna. So, they're all about taking our talent and our energy and enriching themselves. So that's what happened to that group. If you want to know what happened to them, go listen to Madonna's Like a Virgin album. You'll hear that sound was taken from a black group and given to her, basically. That's what made her more popular. Likewise, in what was it, the late 90s, early 2000s, that was Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz wrote a lot of that for her. I can't remember what that album was. I think it was Ray of Light, the one where she was trying to do like more techno sound and stuff or whatever. That was Lenny Kravitz that wrote all that. So, everyone thinks Madonna is like this great entertaining force, but she's not anything special. She takes from other people. Now, once again, even if Whitney Houston had people write stuff for her, Whitney Houston's talent spoke for itself. Okay, once again, she could literally stand there and sing and grab everybody's attention. She didn't have to roll around on a stage spreading her legs in a wedding dress to get attention like Madonna did. Anyone remember that? Like, I used to be heavy into MTV back in the day. I remember that performance that Madonna did on, I think it was one of the VMAs, where she's like basically like gyrating and rolling around on the ground in a wedding dress, talking about like a virgin or whatever, basically being a hoe on stage, doing like a strip tease. And that's what helped her propel her career and make her popular, right? So Madonna has to do stuff like that. And it would seem like every 5 or 6 years or so, she would do some sort of sexual stunt in order to stay popular. Whitney Houston didn't have to do that. All Whitney Houston had to do was release an album of her singing. You see what I'm saying? So when someone like Madonna would come and call someone like Whitney Houston mediocre, that just shows the dichotomy of what's going on there. Yeah, I guess if all you have to do is showcase your talent, I guess that makes you mediocre. You don't have to do all these ridiculous stunts, publicity stunts, and sexual stunts to get attention. I guess that can make you mediocre in someone's eyes, but that only makes you mediocre in the eyes of a pervert, right? And even now, Whitney Houston's songs stand the test of time more than Madonna's work does, you see. And Madonna looks like a complete abomination nowadays. She was already not all that attractive, in my opinion. Like, I know a lot of guys find her attractive. She really wasn't that attractive, She was very basic. In fact, if you find some of her old pictures out there, you see what she actually really looks like. Like before she became famous, she had like the unibrow, like she was like this one like these little hairy Italian American females out here, but she trying to change her look and everything, get the blonde hair and whatnot, and she's like I said, she looks abhorrent nowadays. She looks ridiculous. She's got so many uh, botched surgeries and implants and injections and everything else. It's scary looking. She looks like a monster nowadays. Like I would hate, like if I woke up, like the first thing I opened my eyes to was Madonna's face now, that would scare the shit out of me. Like I might have a heart attack if I saw something like that when I first woke up, right? But for whatever flaws you can say what happened to Whitney Houston, her dying very young and quote unquote dying of an overdose, it probably was something else in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion. I think they killed Whitney and took all of her masters and whatnot, and they killed her daughter as well. That's my opinion about what happened to her. But yeah, that's she at least, like when I think of Whitney Houston, the first thing I think of is her smile and her voice. And it just lights up the world when I think about those two things. When I think about Madonna, I think of a scary looking alien type female. So, you know, you can call Whitney Houston a lot of things, but mediocre is not one of the words I would choose. Only a weirdo or a buffoon would call her mediocre. But, there's a lot of words you can use for Madonna, and none of them are good. So, you folks can let me know how you feel about this in the comment section. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back on my foot on a devil's back.